Welcome to the Tin Rabbit Podcast, where we dive down the rabbit hole and explore the unseen, the unexplained, and the unconventional. Today we're tackling a topic that's been simmering in the shadows for decades, the truth about what's really in our drinking water. Like fluoride, chlorine, lead, and other chemicals. Are they harmless additives or sinister substances with far-reaching consequences for our health and our society? From the early days of fluoridation as a supposed dental health measure to the modern-day revelations about toxic contaminants in our water supply, we'll examine the complex web of interests and agendas that shape our relationship with the water we drink. Join us as we delve into the controversy, scrutinize the evidence, and confront the uncomfortable questions. Who decides what goes into our water? What are the real effects on our bodies and our minds? And who gains or loses from the truth about our drinking water? So let's take the red pill, follow the white rabbit, and see where the truth leads us. Welcome to the Tin Rabbit Podcast.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
How are we doing this evening?
Hey everyone, we're trying to do good. I'm a little exhausted, but we're
Got
gonna
a
give
new
you
job.
a good show.
Working hard, working for that money.
Trying to. So obviously I'm Bad Cookies. I have here with me my sinister crime partner, Mastermind Hour, and his better half hour sitting right
I'll take
next to
that.
him. And we're here to talk to you today about what they put in our water and the dirtiness in our waters.
And why they're putting things in our water.
Oh, I'll tell you why. We'll get into that. It's not good.
So
I'd like
we're going to say
remind-
hello. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Cookie.
Yep. Real quick, I'll just ask everyone to share, like, and subscribe if you can. That'd greatly help the show. Go ahead and say hi to peoples.
Hey, everybody. I see we got Sean in the
Jacqueline.
house. Kill your Gorgies. John Kemper. Hey, John. How's it going?
Oh, Mom's there.
Uh,
Hi, Mom.
Jacqueline. Thank you for staying up. Lady Alex. Hey, Alex. How we doing? Hearts to everybody. Cowboy Kitty. Hey, Kitty. You came in as Kitty tonight. Nice. Who you're going to be next?
Oh, only chloride cookies. It's actually a new chemical, John. It's not chloride anymore. We'll talk about that tonight,
Oh, yeah.
too. They got sometimes the chemicals they replace things with worse. You want to talk about next week's show, Cookie? Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh, yeah.
Next week we'll have one hell of a show. It's going to be one of the bigger topics that usually conspiratorial minds like to talk about. We're going to be doing brainwashing and the MK Ultra program. So please be sure to tune in for that.
Though it'll have other elements, I hope. Because of my teaching background, I want to get like kind of Pink Floydy with it, you know, the educational
The
aspect.
brainwashing of the educational system.
Cookie really, every time I bring up like, hey, Cookie, have you ever seen this show? He's like, that's them brainwashing you, preparing you for the future. So yeah, we'll get into that. I'm excited about that one.
We need to get you another pillow.
I know I look really short, short and feisty. Because you're up high on the...
Here.
Oh, there you go. Join my level. Come down here.
Sorry, guys.
So that's... Oh, we didn't change the banner on next week's show. It's not water, water, water anymore.
No, next week's MK Ultra.
So.
I'll change it if you stop touching.
Someone needs to do the disclaimer too.
Oh, yeah. You want to read that out?
Yeah, I got it.
Or should I?
No, I'll take care of it.
Oh,
go ahead and
okay.
change the ticker, man.
Okay, right on.
Who's going to say we're full of... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was literally doing it.
I know.
This program is a fictional portrayal of a couple of knuckleheads who are pretending to be conspiracy experts. This podcast in no way should be considered informational and is for entertainment purposes only.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's it.
Cookie.
We are educational.
We're full of pellets, you guys. So
Yeah,
please take
right.
what we say with
Aw.
a grain of salt. All right, we're here to entertain you guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But not for me. For me, it's I really looked at like the difference between with our water quality, like what's intentional in regards to poisoning and what is accidental and natural occurring chemicals. And we had a list of like, well, I did 90 different chemicals, and we all decided to pick our chemicals, pick our weapons, and kind of look at like water quality overall. So if we look at the big picture of water,
That look okay? Mind washing MK Ultra. Is it the 7th or the 6th? I guess I should actually.
It's the 7th, man.
Okay, cool.
The 8th is on a Thursday, so we good.
Nice.
What were you saying about the big picture of it all?
Just our water quality in the United States. The EPA touts that we have some of the cleanest water in the world because we don't have to deal with like biological elements.
Giardia. And
Right. And we actually get it purified through like really high tech systems, like in San Diego. They're actually drinking 10% of their toilet water because it purifies it so well. You know, and we're not
I'm
going
not
to
drinking toilet water.
well, don't go to California.
I don't know
then.
about that. Like gray water and ozone treatments. I don't know. Who knows? I heard something that the Colorado River, the water has been through like 6 people by the time we get it. But anyway, like most of it, only 1% is available in the world for drinking water. And usually it has to be treated or boiled or chemically or what have you. And one of the things that I think is ironic is that they say, or very contradictory about the government, is that we have some of the cleanest water in the world, yet if you look at the Government Accountability Office, they identify 70,000 water bodies just in our nation alone that do not meet our current water quality standards, which as we dig into it, we'll see that we're regulating water like 90 different chemicals, even though it should probably be like 500, because as we advance in sciences and stuff, more chemicals are getting into our environment through technology. And we'll talk about like the different pathways of how the chemicals get into our water. And I think it goes from like cradle, it's called cradle to grave. And we're going to talk about that a little bit before we get into our actual chemicals. So,
yeah, I'm gonna be talking.
Mastermind is going to talk about
fluoride. Yeah,
cradle.
That one's gonna be
which
really
means
easy.
manufacturing, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Are we there yet?
No, we're going to talk about the big picture. So, like cradle,
just checking. You
like
sounded
explain
like you were throwing to me there,
what
and
cradle means.
Yeah,
what does
okay.
cradle mean, and what does bioaccumulation mean?
It's where you store babies.
No, you
So
don't know.
I always thought cradles.
Cradle to grave.
Oh yeah, from birth to death.
Yeah, of a chemical.
Certainly.
So pathways of pollution, right, are cradle to grave.
Okay.
And cradle means the manufacturing. So in the manufacturing process,
right,
like when we make semiconductors, that's a pathway for chemicals to get in, or the textile industry.
Yeah.
Because their waste, when they're making things, they use water, right? And then they have to dump it back in. And then maybe
dump it down a storm drain somewhere.
Chemicals get introduced to us when Cookie's going to address like when the water actually is coming through the pipes, right?
Right. The transportation.
The consumption part of it.
Yes.
Right. And then I'm going to, go ahead, Cookie.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to focus on the grave part. So once we're done using things like electronics or pesticides or ammunition from the military industrial complex and all that, it ends up in our landfills or open burn pits or incinerators, and how that gets into our water and then into our environment and our food and so forth.
Well, and I think the military, they actually stopped using lead for their bullets just because of it was actually contaminating groundwater with all the lead they were throwing around.
Well, yeah. Lead solder in electronics is still legal. And almost every part's for repair.
Yeah.
Manufacturers can't do it, but there's still lead sources out there.
Lead solder's still.
But what you're focusing
product.
on, right? We're going to talk about lead. I was going to address perchlorates, which is like rocket fuel oxidizer, like military chemicals that the EPA has been ignoring since like 1988, and they keep pushing it off.
We'll get to it.
Cookies is going to talk about lead. You'll talk about fluoride, which there's a big difference between treating water and treating people.
Right.
And I think that's an important part for Mastermind. So that's it.
That's it.
I mean, that's just the big picture of what we're going to be talking about. And I thought maybe, and either Cookie or I can read this to you. But when we started doing the show and you were complaining about fluoride, I was like, oh, I wonder what my local water quality report says.
Yeah. 0.7?
Uh-huh.
0.7?
Well, it's less.
Seven parts per 10 million?
Well, we could ramble a bunch of numbers, but
Well,
until
that's
people
boring.
have a concept of, but it was saying that, do you want me to read a Cookie, you think? I should.
Go for it.
Do you know where I'm at? Your water district tells you that water fluoridation is the safest, most effective method for maintaining dental health where you live.
Bullshit.
More than 60 years of credible scientific evidence has consistently indicated that fluoridation of community water supplies is safe. The U.S. Center for Disease Control calls fluoridation one of the 10 greatest public health achievements in the 20th century.
And that's how you know it's bullshit when they say they did it. Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, this is great. I bet nuclear weapons was number one.
For public health?
Huh? Why not?
No, it was our first show. It was the Green Revolution.
Yeah, right.
It was probably good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Monsanto's the number one protector of human health.
Monsanto was the first study with fluoride in Idaho.
Of course.
In the 70s.
And I'm sure it was a great thing, too.
Right.
What, Cookie?
It's great then, too. Just keep going, baby.
Oh, additionally, the ADA, which is the American Dental Association, continues to endorse fluoridation in community water supplies as safe and effective for preventing tooth decay.
Okay, put a pin in that because in 1936, the Journal of the American Dental Association said that 1 part per million of fluoride was as toxic as lead or arsenic in the drinking water, 1 part per million. And then World War II happened. We needed a bunch of aluminum and shit, and fluoride's a natural result. We'll get into that.
The history of fluoride, how it came into.
But then after that, then it jumped up to 4 parts per million.
Now it's at 4 parts.
1 part per million is about what they put in the drinking water, and they couldn't tell everybody that was toxic, so they had to fudge their numbers. Proceed.
Okay.
Sorry.
Which is, they also add it, but it also can occur naturally.
That's a whole different kind of fluoride. That's not.
I got to get away.
That's not calcium fluoride. That's sodium fluoride.
Cookie, can you start some comments? Okay. According to the CDC, oh wait, where did I stop? Okay. So community water fluoridation reduces dental decay by 20 to 40%, and it's voluntary. Fluoridation is voluntary in Colorado. It's not a regulatory requirement in our state.
Yeah, but how do you opt
the following,
out? As a citizen, how do you opt out? If your city's in it, you're not.
It's saying because we're home rule.
I get
Colorado
that.
says that the county can choose.
I get that.
So when you look at water regulations, and any regulation really, federal government, and then you could be more strict than the federal government, but you can't be less strict when it comes to
murder,
environmental health and safety regulations.
Right.
You write them a very angry letter, man.
Right. Yeah.
Strongly worded.
Maybe we should protest.
Maybe that'll work. Yeah.
Yeah.
I helped protest and get nuclear wastewater out of Ward Valley.
You did?
Yes,
How'd
sir.
that work out?
They didn't dump there, and the natives got their clean water.
That's cool.
I mean, we had to scream for 10 years.
Did they figure out a way to make that nuclear waste seem like it was helping people and then sell it into put it in drinking water?
You want to hear what your water quality people say? I just pay attention to that one. I'm sorry, baby. So the following scientific organizations support community fluoridation: the CDC, There is no association between community water fluoridation and any adverse health effect or systemic disorder, including increased risk of cancer, Down syndrome, heart disease, osteoporosis, and bone fractures, immune disorders, low intelligence, renal disorders, Alzheimer's disease, or allergic reactions. That sounds like one of those commercials from this drug can cause blah, blah, blah. So what they're saying is the amount that they put in our water, which is very small, less than 1, is safe for us. But what they don't take into account is bioaccumulation. Yes.
Sorry to hear about
Especially when
that, Kitty.
Especially when it
Well
comes to
water
lead,
is
man.
good.
Yeah.
Lead doesn't
That's
leave your body. Once you take it in, it's not going out.
No bueno.
So with harmful chemicals and microbes that may potentially be found in water and cause public health concern, drinking water providers rely on the EPA and other federal regulatory agencies to develop safe and effective regulatory limits. Okay? It's their job. It is their job. We pay them to protect our water and protect us.
Safe and effective, just like the jab.
I'm going to twitch out because I'm not going to cuss on this show. I'm not going to cuss.
We'll see about
Good
that.
luck.
Talk about fluoride and lead, and
Yeah.
I'll talk
We got
about
another 8 minutes
perchlorates
to
and
go. We'll
PFAs, and
Let's see how well
my
that.
head's going to explode. Are we going to watch that Sesame Street film? Please see that little bunny that's on our thumbnail?
Yeah,
Like, can we just
that would have been
watch Sesame Street for a minute, please?
right. That would have been nice.
No?
Well,
That was it.
would
That
have
was
Did
been
it
supposed to be
not
at the
pass
intro.
the...
that would have been during the intro. Yeah, we didn't get that on.
Should we
Sorry.
watch the Sesame Street video, you guys, to chill out a minute?
No, I have to
Oh.
find it and download
Oh, you
it.
didn't? Oh, I see.
Yeah, no,
All
we're,
right.
we're way beyond that part. We decided no video because I was going to run a 6-minute fluoride video, but I decided I'm just going to tell you what he was going to say. And
Please do. It's your turn.
I'm up
Yeah.
about
You missed your
fluoride?
shot.
Yeah, I read
Lebowski.
to you.
Yeah, right. But
Oh, guys.
that fluoride really tied the room together,
I'll let you know if there's something. Ooh, stay away from my pineal gland.
right? Yeah, I already
Sean.
pulled that one up. You were reading while I was
Coded.
pulling.
Oh, you
all
already
those
pulled it up?
Oh, all
You
of them,
didn't?
yeah.
All right. Okay, so I can move on.
So I can't read these notes. Okay, so basically fluoride, what in a nutshell. So back in the early 30s, there was the American Aluminum Company, Alcoa, and they were creating in that town of bauxite, and they were creating aluminum. Yeah, it's actually the name
Right.
of the city.
Which
I
is
thought
the
it was-
chemical,
they
the
named the city
aluminum
after
for
him,
drinking. It's not really aluminum. It's
So
bauxite.
anyway, yeah, they were making aluminum, and one of the byproducts of making aluminum is the fluoride. And what they were doing, because it was the 30s, they were just pumping it straight out the smokestack and pouring it right into the river. And that went on for decades. And then they started realizing that the kids downriver were getting sick. Oh, and the cattle were getting all rickety and couldn't even stand up. It was Indian reservations they were poisoning. And
in
so,
Colorado.
well, yeah,
Right?
that's when they actually started figuring out what was going on was in Colorado Springs. All the people, they actually called it Colorado brown stain because they were getting fluoridosis and their teeth were actually turning brown. So, what was that guy's name? McGruber. Anyway, he went from Colorado, then he went to Missouri, and he started seeing it happening there and started testing the water, figuring out that it was fluoride. And then so they started cranking it down just low enough that you couldn't really see the brown crap on their teeth anymore. But they also thought that, they saw that it was making the teeth stronger, not realizing that it's actually pulling the calcium from your bones and sticking it into your teeth. So now that you've got a nice white shiny smile, when you get old and you fall over, your hip's going to break. And broken hips isn't because of old age. Broken hips is from drinking fluoride your whole life.
Osteoporosis and hormonal issues as well. They've tied.
That's what
But yeah,
fluoridosis
so
causes.
fluoride is pulling it out of our bodies putting it in our teeth, sometimes too much,
Yes.
and then coating our brains.
Yeah, and then it goes. Yeah, it calcifies at your pineal gland
but
as
they
well.
said it doesn't.
Does it what?
The CDC says it doesn't.
The CDC says a lot of crap.
Okay.
CDC says it's safe and effective. And I think we all know what safe and effective is.
The CDC said that masks work.
Yeah, right? Yeah, they did tell us that you could stop a grain of sand with a volleyball net.
There's a difference between stopping and mitigation.
Yeah, you can mitigate a grain of sand with a volleyball net.
So they just were dumping it in the water, and they're like, oh, look, it's helping get stronger teeth, but too much. And then how did it get into our water, though? Like, there's human treatment of treating us, and then water treatment. Yes. Is there any other chemical in our water?
Fluoride's the only thing that they do to water that isn't done to treat the water. It's done to treat the people drinking the water. So it's not cleaning the water. All it's doing is going in for your teeth. And even though the ADA admits that topical fluoride is the only real way to stop cavities, they suggest that if you drink it and you're constantly ingesting it, you actually have fluoride in your saliva.
I don't get it, though. Why? I mean, I can't choose what drugs I put in my body. I can't even choose what I do with my body as a woman. And they're shoving chemicals in my body without me choosing.
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you there real quick.
I mean, yeah.
Did you not live through 2019?
What?
Go ahead, Cookies.
I want to address this from Mastermind.
Cheryl. Yeah.
Here. How do you get it out of your body, Mastermind?
You don't. It's bioaccumulative. They keep telling you that it's, they tell you that it's not, but they've also, was it white crayfish? Bioaccumulative means that once it comes in, it doesn't go out. You don't sweat it out. You don't poop it out. You don't pee it out. It just collects in your bones and in your tissues.
Or in the environment. Bioaccumulative means
that could be bioaccumulative in the environment.
Like when they talk about fish and mercury
But for this,
cookies
for fluoride, we're talking about this environment here.
Which trips me out because as a scientist, when you first started talking about this, I was like, fluoride is a salt. How can salts bioaccumulate? And there's somebody in here, Sean or whatever, he's an industrial chemist, it looks like. So, or not Sean, but somebody in here was.
I think Sean melts gold.
Yeah, somebody. But I started. Anyway, it tripped me out that a salt could bioaccumulate, but I guess it can.
And there's different because they keep saying that fluoride exists naturally, but that's calcium fluoride and not sodium fluoride. There's
different types of fluoride.
The natural one is not the one that they pump into your water.
How much?
And all the research that they did from the 40s was from the calcium fluoride, not the sodium fluoride. So even what they were looking at isn't even what they're putting in their water.
And you know what's messed up, man, is that they tell everyone that you need to drink a certain amount of water every day. Every day you're supposed to drink a certain amount of water.
Drink 8 glasses of water.
64 ounces. And so the math, I was figuring this out. So our water here where we live has 0.74 milligrams per liter, right? And you're supposed to drink at least 64 ounces a day, depending on your weight and all that and your activity. There's 32 ounces in a liter. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So that means you're getting at least 2 milligrams a day. But then, like, if you buy toothpaste and God forbid you swallow it, there's 1,000 milligrams.
1,100
per
1,100
liter.
parts per million.
And then if it's bioaccumulating in our vegetables and our beef, and like they're not even testing vegetables or beef. They did one study on crawfish or something.
Yeah, that's where it was. The crawfish is where they found out it's bioaccumulative. Mm-hmm. And even if and that's the thing is, it's bad enough that you're brushing your teeth with it and drinking it. But then if you buy a can of Campbell's soup, anything that's processed, that's going to be made with fluoridated water. So we are getting constantly bombarded with this fluoride, and it's calcifying our pineal gland, which is, they know that it makes melatonin, so it's going to mess up your sleep regardless. But a lot of people think that, even the subcontinent of India thinks that your third eye is your pineal gland. So if they are calcifying your pineal gland, they're cutting off your radio to God. How about that?
Wow. So are they finding calcium deposits on our, like when, are they doing like any sort of like studies on our brains after, like when they were figuring out Alzheimer's, there was heavy metals in the frontal cortex area.
I'll take your
Like,
word
are
on
they,
that.
I don't know. Like,
I'll take your
I know
word
with,
on that one.
huh?
I said, I'll take your word on
And
that.
I wonder, they're not even testing, like with lead, at least with some of the chemicals that are in our water on the watch list, you can test blood levels for, and protect yourself through like occupational therapy, blood testing and stuff.
But that's because you're not supposed to have lead. They are dosing everybody with fluoride, which technically at that case, it's a medicine, and it's the only medicine that you can't regulate the dose. You can't get less fluoride unless you stop drinking water. So it's not regulated. If I drink 8 glasses of water a day and you drink 4 glasses of water a day, I'm getting twice as much fluoride.
Okay.
And if you're drinking 8 and I'm drinking 4, you're smaller than me. You're getting twice as much fluoride as I am.
Right. But we're pretty resilient too. Like,
That's,
I mean,
yeah, but
our bodies can.
they started at 1 part per million was toxic, and they were that when they were not financially motivated to lie.
My whole
What?
thing about that, man, is like they tell us to drink that much water every day, and then what they don't realize is that some people, for certain types of people, especially low-income individuals, a lot of the water sources that they have are highly contaminated with fluoride and a bunch of other stuff that they literally have. That's the only choice they have to drink. Like
Right.
Snork said in the comments here,
No, go
no
Well-
drinking water is safe unless you have an RO filter in your house.
Okay. And I was going to save the questions for the end just so we can
Right.
finish our thoughts and
Sure.
get through that because we're at the half-hour mark. I mean,
Sure.
we can address these questions.
Well,
I'm trying
just
to
said as
start.
if you can get filters that filter out, all the fluoride and lead and all the bad stuff, but those are not cheap filters.
And I actually get into like testing your water for our conclusions. We can talk about that.
You're not going
Vicky
to
hasn't
be able to
talked
filter your water for under $100. I think that anything, I mean, if you get a cheap Chinese filter, buyer beware. But if you want to be sure you're actually getting the garbage out of your water, then you're going to have to pay. So that free water is not so free.
Snork saying pop in, we're going to do another show on water because there's so much information, but I'm going to take your name down and we can talk about that for sure. If you have, because I could use another chemist on the show to help figure out my leaders. And no, I'm just joking. I'm not a chemist.
Snorky's
I mean,
a good Iowa boy, so he's always going to be helpful.
Yeah, he's helpful.
The Iowa boys are always helpful.
I want to talk more too, and thank you, Mastermind, for informing me. I didn't realize that it coated the pineal gland.
Calcifies it.
And I wish there was some way to test for it, though. And you didn't come across any way to
they're
test
not
myself.
They're not going to test
see.
your blood for fluoride because they know it's there because you've been drinking it for 42 years.
I'm going to try to find one. Or develop one. Why don't we invent
Develop a test for fluoride? What would be the point? Everybody's got fluoride. That's the whole point.
They test for PCBs and lead and all this other stuff.
That would be about as effective as testing me for THC. Yeah, you're going to find it, I promise.
To be informed.
Yeah, well, I'm informing you right now. You got fluoride in your body, and it's accumulating on a daily basis. Every day is just another little marble in the bucket. Okay, so
Lead.
is that it for fluoride?
I mean, you could
did I miss
connect.
anything?
Why are they doing it? And that's our bigger
Oh
picture.
yeah,
But that's our
okay,
bigger
Alcoa.
picture.
Sorry, I forgot to
Yeah.
get back to the
Selling
story that I
industrial
started and
chemicals.
stopped.
Yeah.
My start and stop story. So yeah, Alcoa was making aluminum, and they were getting ready to be sued. All the people downriver were getting ready to sue Alcoa, and the main lawyer for Alcoa was a senator, and I can't remember his. See, I'm bad at names. So there was a government guy, and you know how government and industry work. So he went from Alcoa into government, and from government he went back to Alcoa. But while he was in the government, he made it so that instead of people suing Alcoa for fluoridation poisoning, he got it so they actually added fluoride to the drinking water and saved Alcoa's ass. And just in time, because they needed all that aluminum by 1932 to start the war effort. And after that, the government was paying them to make aluminum and therefore paying them to make fluoride. And now, instead of having to pay an exorbitant amount of money to safely get rid of this hazardous waste, they instead put it in a bag and sell it to these communities. They took a liability and turned it into a windfall.
Commodity?
It was freaking evil genius.
They turned it into a commodity.
Yeah, evil genius.
Perchlorates have the same story, but they can't sell it back because it's rocket fuel oxidizer.
Well,
lead.
That would be the same thing as if you could.
Because of the freaking Romans.
Yeah, if you took expended nuclear uranium rods and said, hey, this will make your teeth brighter. We'll sell these uranium rods and put one in every water treatment center in America and sell them for $100 a piece. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Then you don't have to pay to ship them to Yucca Mountain and bury them for 1,000,000 years.
Right.
It's
Tia.
pathetic.
She likes laughing at the word penile too. Everybody get your
My penile gland.
Penile. Cookie, I want to hear about lead because that's really like my forte.
Yeah.
Part of what made me become a scientist was the lead in our electronics, our old television sets, and seeing them all get thrown away in the 90s made me want to just get sick to my stomach. And lead is more about like the pathway of the water getting to us and the laws around that. Can you help us understand? You're muted, Cookie. I can't hear you, hon.
Bad Cookies has left the building. So we will. Nope, there he is.
Yeah, I want to share this video real quick.
Oh, nice. We do have a video. I didn't do movie night
Have you
tonight.
ever heard of a thing called
this one.
fluoridation of water?
Yes, I have heard of that, Jack. Yes.
Well, do you know what it is?
Yes.
No, I know what it is now.
Do you realize that fluoridation is the most monstrously conceived and dangerous communist plot we have ever had to face?
Mandrake, you realize that in addition to fluoridating water, where there are studies underway to fluoridate salt, flour, fruit juices, soup, sugar, milk, ice cream, Mandrake, children's ice cream.
You know when fluoridation first began?
My body.
I know. No, I don't yet.
1946. 1946, Mandrake. How does that coincide with your post-war commie conspiracy? Huh? It's incredibly obvious, isn't it? A foreign substance is introduced into our precious bodily fluids without the knowledge of the individual, certainly without any choice. That's the way your hardcore commie works.
All right, just wanted to share that because that was some.
Oh, yeah.
When you showed me that, I was like, man, this is awesome. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I know that Kubrick was doing tongue in cheek about the commie scare, but you know there's a lot of truth in there too. They did, you know, the real conspiracy, the white national neo-Nazi conspiracy theory is that they were using fluoride to make people docile and just would take orders more easily, turn us into sheep. So, well, but there is studies that say that fluoride makes you dumber.
So they're only giving
lowering
us
our IQ.
fluoride here, though. Like one of the things the EPA is like,
So a little poison's okay as long as it's not a lot of poison. They keep
well, it's
saying
not
that.
happening on a global scale. Wouldn't they want to dominate us on a global scale? Like, why are they just putting it in North Americans' waters? You go to, like,
Oh well, there's a couple dozen countries that fluoridate. It's not just us.
Israel does it.
As they do.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
used it as an excuse. When I was researching, they're like, "It's okay, we fluoridate because here's these other countries that do it." Like, what?
If Israel fluoridates, it must be safe because they care about their people.
That was a good one. So we had to watch Doctor Strangelove and No Sesame Street. It's really sad. Go ahead.
Well, we missed it at the beginning.
I'm teasing. I'm joking.
We'll pull that out next time just for you. We'll make
Thank
sure
you.
to get your
I
video
need
clips.
lighthearted stuff.
I got to make sure to get your son off of the
Depressing.
computer an hour ahead of time and not have to fight him over
Dude.
who gets to use the computer.
Snark's gonna make my head explode.
What'd he say?
Oh, he's just because he's educated about all this crap. So
Well.
he's opening our eyes. There was a new study out, but I do want to talk about, I have a lot of things starred for you, Cookie, on lead. Because we're
No, that's okay.
like 40 minutes in.
All right.
No?
All right, let's do the lead, Fred. Let's get the lead out.
Do you not want to talk about lead? What?
No, not really.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. But
Okay.
yeah, lead's bad for us. Don't drink it. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, and that's the conspiracy too, is the lead paint and eating paint chips.
yeah.
But if it's just the paint chips that were in the windowsill, why would you not be able to paint the walls? Is that?
Abby Dew was saying because so they could radiate our houses.
Well, yeah. So if you had lead on the lead paint, then they couldn't use their radar to look into your living room. But
Yeah.
I think they can do that with Wi-Fi now. I don't think that
Right.
would really matter one way or the other.
You won't. Yeah, it's bad for us, Cookie. But did you try to find out about your own situation?
Oh yeah,
Like,
what's Chicago's lead levels like?
or different pathways that it gets to you? Like, how old is your building? Like, they're still using leaded pipes in 1988, right? And then they banned using lead solder. Or like leaded gasoline was a
Right.
problem, and they replaced it with MTBE, which got in our water. Sometimes the chemicals that
The
replace,
solution's worse than the problem.
yeah,
Well, that's what they did with PBC, PFAs. No, what's the thing in the baby bottle?
that's BPA.
And then whatever they
They don't
replaced it
know what
with,
they replaced it with yet.
It's just as
EWG, Environmental Working Groups, trying to figure that out. But
It's a whole society to fuck around and find out.
someone was talking about chlorine, and it was chloramide, and that's the one that the Israelites are using. It's okay, but it kills fish, and you have to purify dialysis machines. So chloride's out, and now a new chemical that's been used in about a decade is called chloramide. I don't know much about it, but
Which is what, one molecule off?
yeah. Yes, lead pipes are different, and it's not quite just lead pipes. It was copper pipes being soldered with lead,
Right.
and as they aged,
When the solder welds start leaching into the water is
Right.
when you have problems.
And one of the things that frustrates me about lead is that in North America, we're sitting here pointing fingers at other countries. The government does, like, oh, look at the free market is sending leaded devices or things like that to other countries. But if we take a look at our own country and like Pennsylvania, for example, there's this company called Doe Run, and they're one of the worst offenders of lead. And if you look at the lead levels of the kids in that area, it's environmental justice issues. It's people who are in poverty are usually around like these chemical plants and all that stuff. And they're the ones who aren't being informed about lead in their drinking water, or if they're like, the EPA is supposed to protect us. And when it comes to lead, we're not informed because you have to inform yourself and pay someone to test your own pipes. Like, who has money for that crap, to do
Well,
environmental testing. I could charge people $300 an hour for that crap.
And that's the
I
thing
mean,
is
stupid.
even if you get that water report from your local government that tells you how much lead or fluoride's in your water, well, fluoride doesn't matter, but
Didn't it?
if they tell you how much lead's in your water, that's how much lead is in the water when it leaves a water treatment facility. That's not the amount of water that's coming out of the tap in your kitchen. So if you've got any crappy pipes between you and the water treatment facility, you're going to get extra yummy metals in your water. And that's, I don't know. They say that if you let your water, put it like in a pitcher or something and just let it breathe, let it sit, that some of that stuff will settle and some of that stuff will off gas. But man, I don't know, unless you're spending money on filters. I don't know as I would really trust that as a way to keep yourself safe.
Didn't you work for some dude at
I work for
Gateway?
lots of dudes.
At Gateway. It had
Oh,
to do with lead and
yeah.
he would make the poop face.
Was it Rick Schneider?
I don't know.
I don't know. He was
Not Ricky Schroeder.
No,
No.
Schneider.
Schneider.
He was the governor of Michigan when Flint went down. Is he governor? Something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but he was kind of a dirt bag. I worked for him at Gateway 2000. He was a CFO or COO. I don't know. He was one of the big wigs at Gateway. And he was kind of a jerk then too. So when I saw that he was the one that was in charge of all this crap that went down in Michigan, it wasn't surprised. I'm just surprised he didn't end up under a prison somewhere because he's just slimy like that.
I mean, I could talk about perchlorates, which are just touch base on them a little bit, but I think, people get it that the EPA is here to protect us. And actually, we wouldn't even be aware of these things if it weren't for concerned citizens that some of them are government employees trying to wake us up, but they overregulate us and they're not protecting us at the same time. Like all these documents and all this information, and they're still just pushing it off. And perchlorate, I encourage you guys, it's rocket fuel oxidizer, and it's been a concern because the military, fireworks, there's all these chemicals that should be on our EPA watch list, but aren't, and they keep putting it
And
off.
if they're making it for the government, then they don't have to listen to OSHA. OSHA never goes into those places. Nobody tests them. As long as they're government facilities, then they have carte blanche to do whatever nasty stuff they want to do.
Right.
Sorry.
Yes, very, very true. We could talk to some of the commenters if you want.
Sure. You okay, Cookies?
Are you still there, buddy?
I think they got him.
Yeah, they
I
could
think
have.
they got him. It was the government that got him. He got too close to the truth.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, if you want to talk about perchlorates, then I guess we're
Well, no,
We're
it's
tap
just
dancing
rocket
here a
fuel
little.
oxidizer, and basically they have this plan that they've had. The EPA has this plan, and they were supposed to do it since 1988. And they put in, this administration currently put $50 billion to our clean drinking water, which is a lot of money to put into clean drinking water, and to not have
have what?
any results from it. All they do is write documents, and they don't test for it. And they're like, well, maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. Perchlorate is proven to destroy your thyroid. Proven, scientifically proven. You've got one website saying it's poison, we need to test it. And then the EPA saying, well, we can't really find all the data that we need, and we're just going to put it off another 2 years. How can, in this day and age, how can you not find data? Like, it's killing me.
They can find it. It's that they don't want to. That's why that I was trying to find the research that fluoride makes you dumber, and it exists, but they want to bury it and hide it. And then they don't want to do any more testing on it because they already know what the answer is and they're not going to like it. So as soon as they find out that, yeah, it is making people dumber and it's making people's bones fall apart, then they're going to have to start taking it out of the water, which is fine. But then the problem is the industry. And now it used to be aluminum. Now it's the fertilizer factories. The people that are making fertilizer are the ones that are making the fluoride
Waste.
now. Yeah, making the fluoride waste and selling it to communities.
Right.
So
because it gets in different pathways. So like we were talking about manufacturing, producing industrial waste, and like Snork may be an industrial scientist that like make industrial hygiene is what they call it. Like a lot of hospitals will dump in our wastewater systems and manufacturers and stuff. Is she okay? Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay. Sorry. And what was I saying?
I don't know. We live in a crazy world where half conspiracy theory show and half
Reality.
yeah, I don't know. It's kind of getting scary.
Oh, people regulating with no real results. And I want to read something. They're called POPs. And when we talk about food, and you were saying the fertilizing industry, this is from the Government Office of Accountability as well as EPA and CDC. Talk about POPs. And it's many POPs were widely used during the boom in industrial production after World War II, when thousands of synthetic chemicals were introduced into commercial use. Many of these chemicals proved beneficial in pest, disease control, crop production, and industry. These same chemicals, however, has had unforeseen effects on human health and the environment. So they're allowing the free market to use all these chemicals, put them in our environment, put them in our drinking water, throw them away, get them on our surface, soil, land. And one of the biggest pops was PCBs. So they did ban those, except for you could still get them from Vietnam in microwaves. And then when we go throw microwaves away, it gets in our drinking water. PCBs are in everything. Every piece of tissue, breast tissue.
Yeah, microwaves are bad.
Umbilical cords. Microwaves are bad, yo.
Well,
No,
and I think eventually we're going to be doing a tin rabbit on dirty energy, dirty electricity, and microwaves is definitely going to be on my hit list there.
Right.
I'm not going to say I don't use a microwave, but I tell you what, I don't stand next to it when it's running. I've learned to walk. I used to stand there and look right in the window and watch the food going around while I'm irradiating my brain.
So just going on with POP, because we were talking about intentional and unintentional poisoning. So the intentional poisoning is applying chemicals like DDT, PCBs that were used in our energy productions versus unintentional, like we started burning trash at high levels and it was creating like dioxins in our air. And we're not addressing acid rain or whatever, but
well, and acid rain, I think that was a conspiracy theory the other way, just to scare people.
Yeah, but when you go to LA and you see the bathtub ring, I challenge you to tell me that acid rain doesn't exist. When that smog lifts away, and we used to call it the bathtub ring in LA.
It's just,
you could see all the dead trees from the layer of where the pollution was. It kills shit. It kills shit. And rain is acidic. But are you going to run around screaming because it's burning your skin? No, it's just the pH of rain was higher in black soot scrubbing areas.
If they put
dioxins.
fluoride salt in it, the plants would love it because it's what plants crave.
Yes, they did come from transformers. Snork. And yeah, any sort of, what are they called? Not a transformer, but they store the energy.
Battery?
No.
Oh, capacitor.
Yes, capacitors. They were in the capacitors, Snork. That's where all the PCBs come from. And they were finding it in women's umbilical cords and babies. And like that's why I was saying if fluoride isn't on a global scale and it's just specifically for Americans or North America, like PCBs are worldwide because PCBs spread through air, water, land, and it's in every single tissue, plant, and human. We wouldn't know we were dumbing ourselves down because we're de-evolving on a global scale. Do you get what I'm saying? So is it only developed nations that use fluoride because they have access?
Well, because they're the only ones that use processed food. That's why Americans and English have shit teeth and Africans have nice pearly whites because they're not eating processed food. So they don't need the fluoride to begin with.
Yeah. Sugar.
Right? Yeah. So,
I'm not even going to get into PFAs, baby. We're almost at an hour in. We could start talking to the audience, and I want Cookie's back. Come back, Cookie. What happened to you, baby? Where are you?
I'm right here, just listening.
He's here. He's listening.
But I want to know. I want to know what he thinks.
I want to know what you're thinking. Tell us what's on your mind.
Cowboy Kitty says, when healthcare is for profit, poisonous is a plus in their eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why that's why the American Dental Association's all gung ho about fluoride. You would think if it was actually doing something that they would try and ban it because it's going against their financial interests, but that's not the case.
Jacqueline, I agree, but it's good to drink water, honey. Keep drinking.
Yeah, see, I drink 8 cups of coffee in the morning, so I'm running to the bathroom from 6 o'clock in the morning till noon every day.
I don't know what an RO filter is. Cookie, what
Reverse
is that?
osmosis.
Oh, I know what that is. That's why we can drink our toilet water.
Well, you can.
Anybody. That's why San Diego's drinking their toilet water. What do you mean you don't know? I worked in wastewater treatment plant up at Pelican Bay Prison. That was fun. They drink their own pee water. A lot of us do.
Well, I mean, eventually all water is dinosaur pee.
Which comes into when we're eating or taking so many pharmaceuticals and that whole thing of pharmaceuticals coming through in our urine and then getting into our drinking water, because you can't get rid of that either.
Well, yeah, our drinking water is just complete garbage. Now they have estrogen from women taking their estrogen pill. I don't know, is it from them peeing or dumping their pills in the toilet? But there's estrogen in the drinking water.
Both.
How is there I don't get it.
Because
it's
birth
just a
control
toxic
pills.
soup.
Yeah, it is a toxic soup. Someone was calling it toxic soup. And Jacqueline.
Yeah,
yes.
And they're right. Toxic soup.
Buying bottled water. We did studies on spring water and tap water and stuff.
Yeah, if it's spring water, that means it's natural, which means it's probably got cow shit in it.
E. coli.
Yes.
Yeah. But might as well just drink your own tap water instead of buying tap water from halfway across the world.
Put it in plastic.
I think someone liked to talk about it. We started showering at the trailer park pool showers with the good filters.
Yeah. Right?
What? Oh, like
instead of just
house didn't
regular regular tap water.
Yes. Nihilo, is that how you say it?
Nihilo nostrum. That's
okay.
Michael.
The COVID wastewater testing gets you. Oh my goodness. So
right
when I belong on this wastewater treatment forum in my community, because, just running with my peeps, and God bless our wastewater treatment guy. I don't know.
It's a good story.
Is it though?
Yeah,
it freaks me out. Okay, so we have to test water, right? Did you want to say something, Cookie, or were you gonna?
No, keep going.
Oh, okay. So we were in this forum, like you're just talking and stuff, and we were talking about how to test for COVID in the wastewater, because whenever you test black water, which is your poo water, right? You can get an indication of how much illness is in your community, like polio. You can test in the poo water and all this stuff, right? So we're talking about that, and they're teaching people how to test for COVID in the water. And our head scientist says, does that mean we have to do the other tests for like the lead? And what he was referring to is lead, fluoride, the daily testing. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to test for that? It was just I don't know.
If we test for COVID, does that mean we could just let everything else slide? I know.
I don't want to badmouth people.
Well,
only if they deserve it. It was a lot to ask. It's a lot. I mean, there's intelligent people in government jobs too, and I'm not bad-mouthing that. And at least he had a community to correct him and say, yeah, dude, we have to test for all chemicals.
Just do your job.
And COVID.
Just do your job.
Yeah, it was extra work, I did test a few random bottles, actually, for E. coli, which is fecal matter. And it was spring water that showed the most because it's natural. And the bottled water had more fecal matter in it than the faucet right next to the guy's bathroom.
The drinking fountain.
We would swab all of it, and more fecal matter grew in that spring water bottle than people who don't wash their hands touching the
Nasty.
assays. Yes, for materials in the body are readily available. I think that's a good solution, Snork, but a lot of people don't know about that. So like you could test for lead. Like if you work around any hazardous chemicals, you can demand that they test your lead for those chemicals that you're working around. And I think you could also go into like an industrial, like at your local diagnostic center and ask them to test you for certain chemicals. Not a lot of them will show up, and I think it's only $45. That's what I paid for employees because I would test people's lead levels, and it was like $45 a person. I like Abby's point here about you guys were talking about
took
that.
it out of the paint so they can spy on
Well,
us.
you know, they
we were
used to
talking about that a little
scan
bit. Yeah.
RFID, and we'll be talking about that, Abby, on our technology show, because I was taught by a GIS guy about scanning RFID identification. Like you could just scan one whole warehouse and get all that information. So they wanted to do that on a commercial level, like, you know, to buy how many products we have in our house.
Well,
and
that's
stuff.
what they made. They patented edible RFID chips, which means that they can sprinkle it onto fruit and stuff. So you can run a piece of fruit through the checkout and it'll automatically scan it, was the idea.
Right.
But then they can also do the same thing with the warehouses, just scan your whole house, know exactly what you have in your inventory, which could be the same thing as just like Facebook stealing your information, knowing what you buy and how much you buy. And
Or I
it
heard
could be
that
worse.
it enters in your system through like your underarm deodorant, your nail polish, whatever products you're using. And then like when you go through a scan, like at the airport, and then they can sell that information. I'm like, I'm not that important. Why do they want to spy on me? we're not that important.
But
what I buy and what I use.
You're a
So that's
product.
more of like a capitalistic spy kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the government doesn't give a shit about me. So what?
Right.
I'm reading stuff off the
they don't
government
even care if they
web pages.
poison you to get that information. Whether these RFID chips are safe or not is one question, but the fact that they will have you eating them without even knowing about it, just so they can find out shit about you, is pretty evil. Yeah. It's just evil. All of it's evil.
I think Snork meant to say, I think he meant like the forever chemicals, PFAs. That's it.
Well, and you in there somewhere.
Causing autism. And that's the whole argument, is you can't prove chemicals. And Cookie and I talked about this before on one of our other shows, like not being able to prove environmental damage on our bodies because there's so many other, like correlation is not causation. And like, just because something happens at the same time, like the whole Erin Brockovich movie with PG&E and the hexavalent chromium, you know what I'm talking about? She had such a hard time proving that.
Yeah.
And you have to really...
Well, that's the thing, is you can't say, this thing caused cancer, because the lawyer for the defense is going to say, it wasn't cigarettes or leaded gasoline or your
science.
water, or they can just push it off into the 100 other corporations that are poisoning us. You can't just blame us. We're 1 in 100 that's poisoning you, but they're all doing it.
Does anybody know where Old Man Barker lives?
I do not.
Or like area?
I think in
almost all
West
reserves.
Coast, maybe Washington area. I don't know.
I mean, we're pretty resilient. It takes a while for lead to break down, so I don't know. That's my hope.
Oh, yeah, but it doesn't matter because it's just a slow drip, drip, drip. It's leaching all the time, so it's a constant reservoir of this toxic metal that's every time you drink you're getting a little more, which when it's 0 is the correct number that you want, then anything above that is poison. And that's with fluoride. Fluoride is a poison. Everybody knows it's a poison, but they crank the dial down to 1 part per million so you can't see your teeth turning brown, which then nobody gives a crap about it until you fall over and break your arm because your bones are so brittle.
One thing I didn't talk about too is you can order, and I don't know, Cookie, do you even trust to order a test from the government? Like when we talked about that?
I think you checked out.
Yeah, okay. So you can order tests from your local water quality. They're supposed to test water every day. And there's a difference between them testing it at the water treatment center versus testing it in your home. And you can call the water company and they will test it in your home. You could also volunteer to be part of their random studies. Like, you know, you can put yourself on a list and they'll come and test your water at different times. But it's ultimately our responsibility to make sure they're giving us the right things.
Right.
Ugh. That's the best I can do on that one. I don't even remember all that.
Bring glass back. Yeah, for sure.
There's
Oh,
a
he
time
skipped that
to-
one. I used to watch a series about dangers in the average British household during certain periods of history. Amazing we're still here. Yeah. Well, and British, I think the UK turned all of their like reservoirs into private. I think they privatized their water, if I'm not mistaken, which is really, really messed up. I mean, but I'm sure that's where I'm surprised we haven't done that yet. I think just because the country's so big that they can't get their arms around it all. But yeah, UK's small enough that, yeah, if you got a couple dozen reservoirs, you pretty much got it all buttoned up there, right? Bring glass back. Yeah,
I think because but not for sure.
Well, it's
Here's
heavy.
my argument.
It's heavy. I get it.
And transportation and
So it costs.
I mean,
it costs a little more to be healthy.
I think you're on the right track with that, bringing glass back, but we need to develop green chemistry. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, why can't we have ecology in mind through capitalism?
Well, you just answered your own question. It costs money.
Why can't we profit from no pollution? That's what I'm saying.
Because it's more
value?
profitable to go the other way. And in a capitalist society, he who makes the most cash wins. Oh,
He really dropped out.
he must be having some issues.
Have a good evening. I'm good.
All right.
I just want to make sure he's okay.
Yeah. Oh, he's back. I think he's just having some
Something's
microphone issues or something. Oh, there he is. He's back.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I want to see where my 50 billion went. Oh, hi, Cookie. Are you there?
I heard him for a second.
Yeah, I'm here. I lost audio for a second.
There he is. Yeah, that's what we're going to get a GoFundMe to get you a good microphone. That'll be our first. Once we get monetized, it'll be get Cookie a microphone.
Oh.
What?
I think it's, internet too.
Yeah. Oh, and
In
a
rural
camera
areas.
so we can see his mask.
That's my conspiracy theory. Who is Cookie? I'm going to put that in our registered list.
Yeah, I had to
think you were
convince her that
closing.
you weren't Kit Cabello cookies. She
I
had a
thought- I keep
theory
thinking you were Kit, just changing your voice.
with the voice changer.
And a Mexican wrestler. I want to see that Luca mask.
The Luca mask.
We were going to have my niece sing a song, but
No,
we're not going to do a song tonight.
Yeah,
but
we
we could do our
could do any
closing
videos.
and talk about. Because I'm PFAs. My brain is so dead. Basically, we have access to all this information
That's the
that got
problem.
lost somewhere in 2017.
Yeah.
And Snork, tell me if you agree with this. Are you finding that it's harder to find data now? Like on Echo, what happened to Echo? What happened to environmental compliance history online is what Echo. There's more comments here too. I could.
Ton, you've been on Start for a long time.
Oh, old man was saying it's in Alberta.
Alberta,
Canada.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm going to pretend like I know Canada and say that's on the west side.
right. Ooh,
Alberta. No,
I agree.
that's
It did smell better.
huh? Like
Dr.
that doesn't
Nick.
smell better. Yeah, right.
Roman,
Again, one more time. That's all right. Everybody knows.
Mastermind laughs at me because I do like the smell of not diesel, but
Gasoline.
yeah, like old.
She's the only chick I know that volunteers to pump gas.
It smells good.
I think that's why I married her. She didn't make me get out and pump gas all the time.
Zinc. I
People are
do.
getting zinc poisoning of the nervous system when started adding zinc to everything. Yeah, you can, especially, well, and that's like vitamin C. You can overdo vitamin C really easy, and people think, oh, I'm going to pop these, what's the emergency and all those vitamin C pills. But what happens if you take too much vitamin C?
You can get kidney stones.
How big?
I don't know.
How big do the kidney stones get?
Like 10 millimeters.
Stop.
I don't
It's a visual
want to
medium.
talk about my
It's a
health
visual
history
medium.
with
You
people.
can't hide behind papers. Even
What's all this ball talk? I want to talk about balls. Nothing. I'm trying to figure out what they're talking
What
about.
they're
in the
talking
audience,
about.
But we could work on the clothes, baby.
Okay.
Or if cookies.
Yeah, anything
Not
else,
gonna-
Cookies, or should we wrap this thing up?
Wrap it up, man.
All right. What do we got?
The closing.
All right.
You don't remember the closing? Say goodbye and
Well, I was just going to say goodbye to
Adios,
everybody in chat and
amigos.
let them know that the whole reason that they're doing all this is just to make us dumber. So filter your water and read a book.
I think you should order a test. They're free. And you should call your water company and just
Be
inform yourself.
proactive.
Because my conclusion was that consumer safety, so when you buy things in our market, is a choice in a capitalistic society. You have to inform yourself. You really, I mean, there is an option to try to protect yourself as much as you can, even if you don't have money or just, and you're right, knowledge is power, and getting this information lost. I was going to see if Snork thinks that
I took
our
that
information is getting lost in science. Our information is getting.
Well, yeah, they're
lost.
well, and that's.
Do you think it's security? Like they don't want the other government aid or other governments?
You're going to get me started talking on DARPA, and we weren't going to do that until later. But that's the whole point of DARPA creating the internet, is to make you dumber. And we'll get into that later because I don't want to.
Oh yeah.
Tip
Don't
that
forget.
whole story, but
Noteworthy's tomorrow.
yes, Michael and Abby are going to be on Noteworthy tomorrow at 4 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. What's that?
The times on here.
Right? 3 p.m. Pacific. I hate time zones.
Okay.
Hate them. And then
Well, you need it.
we took a day off from civilian discourse, but hopefully we'll be back next Monday at same time as Noteworthy. That would be 3, 4, 5, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific.
Cookie, after doing this show on water, we went up to the mountains to get some respite. And the first thing we see when we get to the water is a dead fish floating in the water. And we didn't want to get in. We still got in.
Oh, yeah. It was a
I
little
mean,
fish. But dangling my feet in, and there were rainbow trout swimming there. I had 3 little buddies that were swimming around my feet for like an hour. So that was kind of cool. So I apologize that I wasn't there for civilian discourse, but this was the last chance I was going to get to go out with my family before school starts. And I wasn't able to make it back down the mountain in time. So I apologize to everybody that was sitting waiting for civilian discourse, but we'll be back Monday, same bat time, same bat channel, because I won't have that no school excuse anymore. Right? School start? When's school start? Soon, right?
He's doing both high school and college, so I don't know.
Yeah.
The 9th and then the 17th. I don't know.
Okay, so I covered that they're making us dumber. People should read a book. That's it. Lead. Yeah, there's not much there. So, all right. So that's it. You're good?
That's it.
All right, everybody. I want to thank you for spending the last hour with us talking about water. And next week is going to be a good one. That's going to be the MK Ultra. That's going to be one that I can really sink my teeth into.
And
education. You can't really sink your teeth into water.
That website is so cool. It's like old school spy, like the movie you just showed us. Like it's very kitschy. I'm excited. That's a good one.
The Men in Black.
Yeah, like Men in Black.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, and we will see you again next week. And follow the tin rabbit.
Bye, Fluffles.